Do you have a specialty that you just want people to know about? Is there something that you do that's very unusual? Well, let me tell you something. Since I started doing these shows, I'm always amazed that people that I knew, colleagues, friends, had these amazing hobbies that they worked with and decided to create books about. My next guest did exactly that. He had a whole world I knew nothing about. My name is Vin Dacquino. Today, you are going to have the wonderful opportunity to meet George Robinson. George, oh man, let them have it. Let them know what you do.
Good to see you, Vinny.
Good to see, always good to see you.
Well, like you, I'm a teacher.
Yep.
I started teaching English as a foreign language to Vietnamese officers in beautiful downtown Saigon.
Wow.
I did that with 2 tours of duty with the Air Force Defense Language Institute. And then when I left, and you can relate to this, I took a job that really required hazardous duty pay and combat pay. Became a middle school English teacher.
You're right. For that, you need a helmet.
Right. While I was there, I got involved with a science teacher, Steve Pesic, and we had a environmental research and investigation center, and we took students down to Key Largo to do research on the reef. While I was there, we had to document what we were doing, so I borrowed a camera from a local store and took pictures. I later wanted to find out more about underwater photography, so I got involved with Stephen Frink, and I went there for a week-long seminars on taking pictures in the Key Largo region, and I got lots and lots of fish pictures. My wife said, "What are you going to do with all these pictures?" And I don't know, I got a lot of pictures. Well, she's a reading teacher, my wife, and she said, "Well, what we really need in the younger grades are nonfiction science books for students, not just swimming the fish nonfiction books or fiction books." So I put together my pictures and I put them in some sort of order on prey and predator, habitat, camouflage, and I wrote the book. And then my wife took the book and translated it into 2nd gradeese, just for
Yep.
Those students.
It's so a language in itself.
That was my first book, The Coral Reef.
Yep.
And that's...
Beautiful photos. Beautiful photos.
Thank you. And that got me started with underwater photography. And that was with the old camera, the Nikon 5. And now I graduated to something a little bigger. Can we show them?
Yeah. Get a load of this. This is what he takes underwater with him.
Okay, we go down with the underwater camera. I put my camera, my Nikon, not Nikon, my Canon 20D. I haven't graduated up because each time you get a new camera, you have to get a new housing.
Wow.
And that's expensive. So
Yeah.
I kept this Aquatica housing, and this is what I go down underwater.
And these are lights, right?
You need lights because you lose color as you go down. You lose, first you lose red, so you want to illuminate what you have to get the full color and the full spectrum. And that's my tool for taking pictures. And the way I write books is I take the pictures first, I storyboard them, then I put the words together. A little bit different.
So you had to become a scuba diver.
Yes, you have to learn to become a scuba diver. I am now a dive master, and I also work with Newtown Underwater Search and Rescue as a diver, rescue diver for them. So yes, got to jump in the water and take pictures of fish.
Got to learn how to be in the water before you learn
how
to take pictures under there. And you can't just take a regular camera. I mean, it's...
No, you need if you want good pictures.
Yeah.
From that experience, again with Stephen Frink, I went down to the Bahamas and I did a week shark shootout where you jump in the water with the sharks. And it's interesting. They do have cages, but you can take pictures.
They obviously haven't eaten you.
They can take pictures either inside the cage or outside the cage. Or what they do is that you get around a ship's hull and a person comes down and brings fish, fish heads with them, and they have a long skewer. So you're the other side over there, and we're sitting around, and nod to you, nod to me, and he takes the skewer and brings it over, and the fish head is right there, and the shark comes in and bites about 18 inches away from you.
Oh, God.
The thing with underwater photography, you have to get close because water is, I don't know, 300-400 times denser than air. So you're usually taking pictures within 3 feet of whatever subject you have.
Wow. Have you had any scary moments?
The scariest was on this, between dives. Between dives, you come up and you off gas, and you wait on the boat for the first dive with the sharks, the second. But what they would do is they take dog food pellets, throw it out in the water, and the yellowtail snappers would come up and eat on it. Well, the sharks would come up also. What the divers would do is then go in and surface dive with their cameras right on the surface and take pictures of the shark with the ambient light just a foot or two under the water. I waited 3 days before I did that, and made sure nobody got eaten. That was probably the scariest thing I ever did.
Good idea.
I did it once. I'm not doing it again.
Now, this book here is called Shark Tagging.
Yes.
What exactly is shark tagging?
Researchers know a lot about sharks already, and I did show that in the book, where here's the shark's eye and the nictitating membrane and the lateral line and the ampullae of Lorenzini, all these things that are on the shark. I have pictures of that. But there's things that researchers want to know about sharks. So they go in and tag the shark to follow them, their behavior, and see if they return or whatever.
So is that sort of like the bird banding?
I'll get to that. So let me just talk about the shark tagging.
Go ahead.
This was interesting because the researcher here went down with a shark wrangler, and the shark wrangler called in the sharks and then jumped the shark. It was a female, and she grabbed hold of the shark, grabbed its nose, disrupted the ampullae of Lorenzini, so it was shocked a little bit, and then the researcher came in with a little plunger and put a tag in the dorsal fin. It was a bicolor tag, so she could differentiate between the different sharks, and then she would monitor the sharks, see how they were eating, their behavior, whether they were pregnant, and their size, etc. And she was a graduate student, a doctoral student, so that's what she could afford with those little tags. The fancy ones you see on television where they have the satellite monitoring, they're $5,000, $10,000 a piece. Oof. So this is what she could do, and I happened to be down there and got close enough to take those pictures.
Wow. Wow, that's scary business.
That was fun.
So now you get involved with all of this, but it all started with just kind of like trying to figure out what all these fish were.
Yes, I went down on a liveaboard for a week on the Aquacat in the Bahamas, and I was very lucky to take a picture of an angelfish with a background of purple coral. My mantra when I go down there, my little prayer is, God, please cue the fish so that they'll come around just for me. So I took this picture, and I said, that's great, that's A for angelfish. I need to get all the other fish, B for butterfly fish, C for clownfish, and I can do a book. So the book I've done is the ABCs of the coral reef. This was the first cover, it's not the final cover.
Right.
But you needed a gimmick, something a little bit different.
Yeah.
So what I did was I gave the reader, it's usually a younger student, a hint. So I gave a picture of a butterfly, and that was the hint. What do you think the picture is? So when you get the picture of the butterfly,
it's just here. Okay.
And you turn the page, B is for
page,
and you turn the page,
and then there is a butterfly fish.
There's a butterfly.
Clever.
And then C for clownfish. And I went all the way through the alphabet. F for frogfish, G for goldfish.
Clownfish, which is here.
You have to have Nemo. You can't have a book without Nemo.
There it is. Clownfish is Nemo.
The most interesting one I had there was my W. W, I had a picture of a wolf that I got locally from Salem. There's a wolf preserve there. So I have a picture of a wolf.
There's a wolf.
And then I had to go up to British Columbia, a little south of Alaska, to Dillon's Rock.
Wolf fish.
And that's a wolf eel. And the Captain Mike there went down with us. We're about 60 feet down, and he broke open a sea urchin, and the wolf eel, who was in a little cave, came darting out. And I was lucky enough to get that picture.
Wow.
He came in and out and was gone, and I got that one picture, and I was happy.
Wow. So now, so you had to actually go out and try to get all these fish in the alphabet.
It took me about 10 years.
Wow.
You have to go to the Caribbean, South America, Key Largo I got a lot, up in British Columbia, Alaska, etc.
And then you had another brilliant idea.
Yes, a brilliant idea. It was a friend of mine challenged me to do the alphabet book in Spanish. I said, sure, that shouldn't be a problem. But I didn't realize at first that the words changed.
Yeah.
My butterfly fish is no longer a B, it's now an M for Mariposa. My frogfish is not an F, it's now an R for Rana. So I had to go out and get new fish. So I got the new fish, and I thought it'd be very easy to just go to Google Translate, but it's very stiff Spanish. I happened to be lucky enough to have in-law, Lilia O'Hara, who is from Argentina and speaks very fluent Spanish. So she edited the book for me.
O'Hara from Argentina.
Yeah. She married in O'Hara.
Oh, there we go.
So she edited the book and made it readable in Spanish, not colloquial Spanish, but conversational Spanish, and it flows. So that was the...
and you were able to find enough fish from that area?
I had to go out and take more pictures.
Yeah,
Because there were some that I didn't have.
Wow.
If you look, here's the book. If you go to the end, the last, the Z was a tricky one, because my original Z was zebra and zebrafish.
There's a Z.
Wait, no, don't show the picture.
Huh?
Show show the hint first.
Oh, the hint first.
The hint's at the end here.
Right. Okay, there's the hint.
Okay.
Ah, okay, here's the hint.
In Spanish, the fox is Zorro.
Oh.
I didn't know that. That was cool.
I didn't know that
But I
either.
had a fox picture that I took 15 years ago up in Evergreen, Colorado, and I just happened to get that. I think is a really cool fox picture. And then I found out that there was a fox face butterfly fish that I was able to get a picture of.
Okay.
So that,
There you go.
that
Fox face butterfly fish.
and you can see all the edits that my in-law corrected my Spanish with.
Yeah, yeah.
So I had fun doing that, and that is now available also. So I have a Spanish one. I thought that was really neat.
So you have to do extensive traveling to get these books done.
Yes, that's the fun part. That was my excuse to
get away. Yeah.
By deer, I have to go take a picture of a butterfly fish. So I'll be back
Now,
later.
where do you go for most of your photos, though? Is there
Underwater photos or nature photos?
like your underwater photos?
Key Largo is the key spot. I find that the best diving.
Key Largo is the key.
But also down in Cozumel is an excellent place to go. Belize, off the coast of Venezuela, the Bahamas, of course.
Yeah, wow.
Bermuda has some good diving, more for wrecks than for fish, though.
Yeah.
And again, I dove up in Alaska and British Columbia. That's dry suit diving. The water is about 49 degrees.
So you did all these fish things, and you had all these fish books now, but now you're on land, right? So tell me about land.
I got an email from the Bedford Audubon announcing that they were going to do a bird banding. I said, that sounds neat. I'd like to go out and see what that's about. So I went out and I volunteered. And I should read the small print before I volunteer, because you have to be in the field when the birds are in the field. So that's 5 o'clock in the morning.
Ouch.
So we're in the field at 5 o'clock in the morning working with Tate Johansson, who is the Audubon naturalist down at, in Bedford. And the first thing you do is you walk into the preserve and you unfurl the nets. They have 10 nets, about 40 by 10 feet, and about a mile circumference. And then you sit down to get all their instruments set up, and then they go out once an hour and see which birds landed in the nets. And it's a very involved process of disentangling the birds. If I can show you a disentangling here.
Okay, this is
So
a
the birds-
disentangle of the birds.
So they have to be very careful taking them so they don't hurt the birds. Then they transport them back, and then they do some, they have to find out, is it a male or a female? What's the age of the birds, its size, its weight, and they're doing all these at basically a kitchen table in the field and doing it. And some of the interesting things that I didn't know, and I found out, to find out the age of a bird, they're going like this, and they're blowing the top of the feathers off the head, and in the head there's a little crown, and they're seeing if that's hard or not, and I can't remember the name of it right now, but they want to see how hard that is. If it's hard, it's after its hatch year. If it's still soft, it's in its hatch year. So the only ages birds have are in its hatch year, after its hatch year. That's all you know. You can't say your third birthday, fourth birthday, unless you have a parrot and you've kept it all its life. The other things was, is it a male or female? Color comes into it.
Check the diaper. No.
The color, usually the male is more colorful than the female, but sometimes they're not sure. Again, they're blowing on the breast to get the feathers off, and they want to see if it has a brood patch to tell if it's a female, or, and this is a funny word, a coaxial protuberance, which is a little membrane that transfers semen back and forth.
Wow.
So you can tell if it's a male or female. And then they're looking at the size of the wings. They want to see if there's a variance between species, among species, etc. And then they weigh the bird. Weighing the bird is very interesting in the field. You take a kitchen scale, you take they use the juice can, put the bird in the juice can, and you hold it down, and you get the weight.
Oh,
and
wow.
Then you let them go. And meantime, they also band the birds. They put that little band around its, not its wrist, but its talon or whatever, its leg. And it has numbers on it. And this information is put into an international database for researchers to see migratory patterns, the health of a species. And so they're gathering maybe 20 birds a day, and they do this once a week for 6, 7 weeks in this one particular spot, but they're doing it all over the country.
Right.
And so that information comes in, and they use it for research. And so, but it was an interesting day.
Yeah,
I
sounds good.
recommend anybody who wants to go out with them. They're always looking for volunteers, and it was
So
an
now,
exciting
so
thing.
that's fish and birds.
Yes.
Do you do any other animals?
Fish
Not
and
yet.
bird. What other animals? Well,
I mean, you
what
don't
other
do like.
animals you want?
Yeah, you don't do either the fox or
Well, I had a fox in there.
bears. Yeah, but
Do I have any other ABC books?
yes.
I'm looking to do a couple. I have one I want to do because I went down to Mexico in the Mayan Riviera, and I got a great picture of a jaguar. So now I have a J. I want to get again, just like the ABC, I want to get the rest of the alphabet.
So you can do it. All
so I want to
right.
go back and do my ABCs of the Mayan jungle, or ABC Guide to the Modern Jungle. I have a whole bunch of pictures down in the Everglades. I was down there a number of times.
Wow.
Need to put those together. Just got to find time.
Alligators.
Well, my A was an anahinga, which is a large bird that spreads its wings out and dries in the sun. But I think now with Florida, you're going to need an anaconda.
Wow. That would be interesting.
That would be interesting books. Those are the ones that I would do.
So, all right, and then you made a discovery.
Yes, my grandfather wrote his autobiography. He was about 83 years old when he died, I don't know, 20 years ago or whatever. But he left the Big Chief tablet with his old, I can call it, old man handwriting. And it's taken me a while to translate that and put it onto, type it in. And we're now in the process of putting that together for family. But then at one of your Thursday night sessions with the writers group, you said there's people who are interested in historical nonfiction. And I didn't realize that's what it is, because he was born in 1888. The title of his book is Autobiography of a 10-Year-Old Dropout. He had to drop out of school because his father, he was a DeLuna. So he was originally from Spain, then to Mexico, then to Cuba. His father and his grandfather were involved with Cuba Libre, freeing Cuba from Spain. And his grandfather was an editor and was captured and put in Morro Castle in Havana. And his friends rescued him, helped him escape in a hogshead barrel, and shipped him off to New York.
Wow.
But my grandfather's father was going down to fight in the Spanish War. He was the captain and got all the people together, and he was assassinated on the way down.
Wow.
But his story of his life growing up in early New York in the turn of the century, the different jobs that he had. He was a motorman on the transit when the trolleys were out, and worked his way up to supervisor, and then he became a chef and went out to Colorado. Great many adventures. One of really neat is that he went to Hawaii by ship out of San Francisco in the 50s and met Elvis Presley.
Wow,
talks
that's
about a
cool.
meeting.
I would have loved to meet Elvis Presley.
But this is all his story, and we're going to put it together, and then after I give it to the family, I'm going to bring it to our Thursday night meetings, read it to you, and see how I can edit for consumption.
Great. So, boy, you have been very active, different areas. So now you're going to focus on this book?
I'm going to get, this is what I'm going to be bringing there, yes. But I'm also going to start taking some more pictures. I got to take some more trips.
Yeah, the bird banding book isn't done yet, right?
The bird banding is an ebook.
It's an ebook right now. Okay.
And Audubon, when I talked with them and told them, they were excited about it and want to see the print book. So I need to get together with you, because you're an expert on.
I'll help you get it into print.
Creative Press.
Yeah, Create Space.
Create Space,
which is one of the many.
And put that out so I can have a book. Two of them I have are real books, and the ABC books were ebooks, and the bird banding book is also an ebook. But I want to make those into print books.
Great, boy. So you're pretty busy in all different directions. Well, how are you going to handle this? Are you going to try to use it exactly as you find it? Is it going to be a direct translation?
The direct translation is for my family and all my brothers and sisters, nieces and nephews. They will get word for word. Right. But in looking at it, there's some things I need to delete. He just repeats himself too many times, etc.
I encourage writers all the time to leave something for the children in the family. And there are many people who I've been working with who are writing memoirs. And these memoirs capture, just like a photo album, what the family was into. Who are these people really inside and out? And this must be fascinating, because here's a person who died many, many years ago, but he's going to be alive again. You're going to have the opportunity to give members of your family a piece of their past. And I say this all the time. If we do not give the children of today a chance to see some of their yesterday, we are going to be stealing the promise of their tomorrow.
Very good.
And it's so important. They need to know what came before them.
One of the things I did, my grandfather had a restaurant down in Greenwich Village. He gave the address. I went down and took a picture of that.
Oh, wow.
Now an apartment building. But he also said that he would come up to Carmel.
Wow.
To get his vegetables and his food. And then
there is a Carmel connection.
He bought land on Lake Glenida. Lake Glenida?
Yeah, yeah.
Was that the one?
Yep.
He bought
that's where
12H.
Sybil statue is.
No, not the one further up on Carmel. Lake Carmel?
Oh, Lake Carmel, yeah.
On Lake Carmel. He bought about 12 lots, little small lots, and lived there. But then when the Depression came, out of money, he had to leave, and he just gave the key to his next door neighbor and said, "It's yours."
Wow.
He went to Colorado.
Wow. Wow, that's interesting.
So some very interesting, family history, but what was going on at that time.
Right. So now, but you're also working, aren't you?
Yeah, I do
You're still
some work.
doing some workshops and working with teachers.
Yes.
As well. So this is sort of part-time.
This is part-time.
This is part-time. Now, part-time means nights, days. When do you do your writing, George?
It's when I do the pictures come first, so it's usually in daytime doing the pictures. Getting them back onto Photoshop, into Photoshop and getting them organized. That's usually at nighttime. And then the words come, and it's interesting. You can't stop the flow of words. So I could be writing on a plane, and I'm having a little notebook writing them down.
Whenever you can.
I could be, sitting outside, and when the words come, you have to put them down.
Right. Now, do you have like a workshop at home or
I have
an
a little
office?
studio.
A little studio, and you try to put it all together there.
Yeah.
Must be amazing to try to get all of these things together.
It's taken a few years.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So you're retired, basically.
Well, yeah.
Sort of.
Semi.
Rehired.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so what project are you going to do that you will say, this is what I lived for? Is this all of it, or
What
is
I
there
live for.
something in the back of your mind that says, I've got to do this before I die?
My ABC Guide to the Everglades.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
I want to go down and finish that because I have.
And that's your legacy. That's.
I don't know if it's going to be a legacy, but I want to get that
But
finished.
it's something that you want to leave for people to understand and learn about.
Yeah. Well, the ABC books are. I did that with, as I said, took
Yep.
10 years to get that completed.
Yep. Wow.
Now I'm going to do another one.
Yeah, yeah. A lot of hard work. All right, so we're just about at the end of our time. What do you want to leave these people with?
Just because you haven't done something yet doesn't mean you shouldn't do it.
Okay.
Okay, it's not an obstacle. It's just a little bump in the road you have to get over. So figure out what the end point is, what you want to get accomplished. Like I want to get my Jaguar. I took a picture of a Jaguar, and I want to get all those. All right, there's going to be a whole bunch of things.
By it, okay?
Yeah, a whole bunch of other things I have to do going down there, taking pictures. It's small steps.
Yep.
You can do small steps, and if you do a little bit each time, eventually get
So
done.
don't just dive into what you have to do.
I'm going to do everything at once.
Yeah.
It won't happen. Do
You gotta
small
one
little
step
steps.
at a time.
Yeah.
Well, George, sounds wonderful. I am absolutely thrilled that you were able to give us your time today. I expect to have you back. I want to see this book in print. So pleased to have you. So pleased to see that there's another George.
Yes.
I mean, we worked together for a while. I didn't even know that this other George existed. So if you have something you believe in, if you have something that is a dream, make it a reality. A dream is a dream only until you make it happen. Thank you so much for being with us today. George, thank you so much for being with us. It has been a pleasure. Keep on doing what you're doing.
Okay.
And you keep on tuning into this show to learn more and more about people who have dreams they are going to achieve. Thank you for being here. George, a pleasure. A lot of great things. Can't wait to see some of the stuff that's coming down the pike. Can't wait to see this book. Can't wait to see these books. Keep on doing what you're doing.
We'll get together and get it done.
Yeah.